Hi everyone, I sure hope that the audio settings are correct. I'm still using the temporary setup that I was using last week. Welcome back, and I'm not sure how many we'll have joining us today. First of all, I do want to go ahead and switch to, let me show the monitor, and I can tell you a little bit about what's going on in the planetarium over the next couple of weeks because I will not be doing a live stream next Monday, although I will be back with it the week after next. So that is the plan. Let me make sure I get the right. There we go. Ah, marvelous. Okay, so as of this moment, or at least as of 10 or 15 minutes ago, the public website was directing to a maintenance page. They're working on it. They'll get it figured out. It's for what's the whole college, and I just so happen to have the current calendar open and cached, so that's what I'm showing you. And this week, tomorrow, the 27th, we do have matinees in the afternoon. So 2 o'clock in my backyard, and 3 o'clock is Earth, Moon, and Sun. And there's a coyote in it, so I'll just put coyote in the title for our showing to avoid confusion with some other shows. There will not be a matinee on Thursday. We've been doing matinees on Thursday mornings, but there will not be this Thursday because we already had some other programming for private groups scheduled when we went to make our summer matinee schedule. So there will not be a public matinee on June 29th. The evening of the 30th, we will have Summer Prairie Skies at 7 p.m. and 8 p.m. is Mayan Archaeoastronomy. And for all of these public programs, you just show up and buy tickets at the door before the program. Let me see. The July calendar was cached, but I don't know if it got... Okay, so it's still in there for me. So next week, July, Tuesday, the 4th of July holiday, there will not be a matinee and the offices will be closed. Thursday, the 6th, we will have the morning matinees, but we will have switched programs. So it'll be One World, One Sky, Big Bird's Adventure, and followed by Did an Asteroid Really Kill the Dinosaurs? And then the Friday evening programs, Summer Prairie Skies. Again, it's always a little different. Prairie Skies is a little different from one week to the next, and different just between presenters even, because we all have our different styles and the things that we like to talk about and show. Let's see, the 8 o'clock program then will be Dawn of the Space Age, and as I read this, it looks like that is, yes, that's the first Friday of the month, so there will be a Pink Floyd show at 9. So of course that's not an educational program, but a fundraiser for us. All right, that about does that. I'm going to close that calendar out. And something fun that I wanted to show you, let me go ahead and see this. So this is about the there we go. It's pace.oceansciences.org. This is a NASA mission. It's just under 200 days to launch, so there's a countdown here. And stands for Plankton, Aerosol, Cloud, and Ocean Ecosystem. And the main page for it has some fun things. There's a card matching game that's a lot of fun. I encourage you to check that out because not only are you matching different types of phytoplankton, but you're also then matching the spectral properties, which is some of what's going to be studied in this mission. The one I'm going to show you, though, is this cute one. It's which phytoplankton are you? And you answer 4 questions, and it tells you which phytoplankton. I've had a lot of fun answering the questions differently. So I'm going to go ahead and see this. So the first question, what are you most likely doing at a party? Let's see. Out on the dance floor, I have been known to get out on the dance floor. Not so much these days. Trying to connect with new people, that's certainly something that I do a lot in some settings. Sometimes hanging out with people I know, especially if it's too big of a gathering, something where it's I'm not familiar with, then I might do that. Thinking about an exit strategy. Oh, if I'm really tired and just want to, go home and read or something, then I might be. So it's, these overall, honestly, I answer these questions differently every time. So let's see. I will say trying to connect with new people. Okay. Now, what is your preferred activity at the beach, lake, or pool? I should also point out that on the main page for these quizzes, there's an alternate version that was for use during when everything was closed down. So that was, I think they called it the pandemic edition or something. But this is just the regular version. So what are you doing? Chilling on the floaty, swimming like a champ, dog paddling, or I'm afraid I might sink. I'll be honest, I'm not a very good swimmer, but if it's not too crowded, then I might try doing a little dog paddling because it's just kind of fun and relaxing if, there's not a lot of people or the, tides and winds aren't real rough. Let's see, which climate would I prefer for my next vacation? How about not too hot, not too cold? Because it was too cold last winter for me, and the last few days, although today's weather is perfect. If you're in the Champaign area, it's breezy, but the temperatures are amazing. But generally, I'm going to answer this not too hot, not too cold. Okay. What are your favorite colors to wear? Honestly, I'm good with any of these. I tend to not wear a lot of yellow because it clashes with my usual hair colors. I'm just going to say I'm not picky. Now let's find out what phytoplankton I am. Ooh, I am Alexandrium tamarans. I don't know how to pronounce these things, but here's the cool part. Here's the cool part. What's my story? This is where you click on it and you get to find out. Well, first there's this goofy certificate, but you get to find out all kinds of stuff about it. So, okay, so this could be a problem with causing toxins with shellfish. Ew! So kind of dangerous. So that's what phytoplankton I am. But here's scrolling down. Here's where you get more to explore about the different properties of these phytoplankton. And it's really, really cool. You can click on one of these properties, and now it takes you to showing properties and a bunch of different phytoplankton and more of their characteristics. So you can just keep exploring the different species and looking for their characteristics. It is a lot of fun. So biology's not really been my thing, but this certainly gets me really interested in areas of science that weren't really something that I had looked into. So I'll make sure to put links to all of these sites and resources in the show notes there at the bottom. Okay, let me go ahead to the next thing. I think I'm going to focus on some citizen science. So that was sort of a fun thing to look at. But citizen science, so I'm going to look at some of those resources and just going to highlight some different places that you can look for different citizen science projects. What is citizen science? So we're talking about collaborations between scientists and regular people, where regular people can help to gather data or try to look for certain things. Now, the best part about it isn't necessarily contributing towards something larger, which, okay, I take that back. That is kind of really cool. But the idea that you can learn some of the processes of science, because that's really what it is. It's this process of discovery and categorizing discoveries and figuring it all out, and you get to see what it's like at different stages. So the website that I have right here is from the European Space Agency, and there's a few different projects that are currently open. A lot of these sites, I should tell you, also include citizen science projects that have been completed that aren't taking on new people to contribute, but a lot of them still keep everything accessible so that maybe you're not contributing to it, but you can still play along to discover that process. And if you really get into it, it can give you ideas for creating your own project. But let me see, there was one that I wanted to show, and I think I already have it open. And this was one that was not an astronomy one, but it was one of the ESA projects called Astroplant. Now, this is a more involved type of project where you build your own kit for studying plants in different types of environments, what you could expect to find in different types of planets, for instance. So this website here has the setup guide, thoughts on designing your project, building the kit, all of this. So if you're not so interested in biology, or I'm sorry, if you're not so interested in astronomy, well, then you're probably not watching this. But let's say you have a friend or family member who's more interested in biology than astronomy. This might be something that they would want to get into, especially if they're interested in botany. So lots of plant stuff. Very cool. So I'll make sure to put that link in the show notes. Several of these that I'm going to show are ones that probably more involved that you might not really want to do, but on the off chance that you do, they're there. I will show two of them toward the end that I think are a lot of fun, and they don't necessarily take a lot of official involvement. You know, you don't have to download any software for them. But first, I'm going to show some that are a little more involved. This is one of the NASA sites showing a bunch of different citizen science projects. And some of these projects also overlap with different organizations that are partnered. So, for instance, Cloudspotting on Mars is a Zooniverse project. And I happen to have Cloudspotting on Mars opened up here. And what you're doing is looking at, let's see, I'm not doing this with an account, so I'm not contributing, but it takes you through the information and shows you what this is. So we're looking for these arches in this data. And then we would mark them. And I'm not going to go ahead and step through each of the frames, but let's see. I'm not seeing any example arches in this example one. Of course, that could be because I'm looking at it with a different, I've got my dark mode built in. Let me see if I can. Looking at it in different angles. Yeah, I'm still not finding any in it. I have done this before where I've found a whole bunch of them, so it's kind of fun. I mean, it shows you which one is active, and so I haven't done this myself in a while, so I'm really embarrassed that I'm not getting one. Okay, I just refreshed the whole thing there. Good. Here's an example. I definitely see a loop over here, and or sorry, arches, not loops. And so we would we'd mark them, get the top of the arch, and step through. I now see that one, but I also see another one We're looking through different frames. There might be one here. I'm not sure. Let me look at the next one because I can go back. Yeah, I think that is an arch right there. Okay. And oh, hey, that looks like an arch too. That didn't stand out really well. You might see ones that I'm not seeing. Wow, yeah, I'm seeing them a lot better in here. So this is something that you might enjoy doing. But to be able to contribute, you would need to register for an account and then you would sign in to do that. Going on to, I'll go to the main Zooniverse page, and there are many projects, and you can limit to ones that are more about arts or biology or climate or history, all sorts of different topics. And you keep going and you can get to the different sciences, including the space science, and that's where the cloud spotting is. So very cool. I highly recommend checking that out. If you do, though, boy, you can honestly, looking through these different projects, it reminds me of when I sit down and think, I'm going to watch something on a streaming service. And then I'm just scrolling and scrolling and scrolling and scrolling and marking all of these things to watch later. And then before I know it, the time that I had allotted for watching the streaming service on the TV has passed, and I ended up not actually watching anything. So that can happen. The next one I'm showing is NASA's Universe of Learning. Now, this isn't just citizen science stuff. This has all kinds of resources. Let me go back to the home page because it's kind of a cool looking, wow, very cool looking intro. Oh yeah, that's very nicely done. So up here you would have resources, and so for instance, I'm an informal educator, so that would be an area that I would look for to find materials that I could use in the planetarium. Scientists and engineers can find ways to join and contribute. Learners and families. Now this is where we're finding a lot of cool stuff. You can get answers to different questions that they've put together, nice explanations for, and you can explore the different resources. Let me see if I can get to that. There we go. Search criteria, and there's it really is a universe of learning. There's so much that you can check out. Now through that, I've found things such as this Exoplanet Watch way to contribute, and it's another one where you're expected to sign up, sign in, and you could also just poke around and learn a bit more. If you want, you can download their software to do your own analysis. And exoplanets, it's really just a great area. When I started planetarium work, we didn't know of any extrasolar planets. We didn't think any planet, well, we didn't know for sure, but the thinking at the time was largely, oh, hey, we're not going to find any planets around other stars because most of the stars turn out to have multiple star systems, and so that would be really complicated. Well, it turns out, no, there's a lot of planets out there. A lot. And that I was in the planetarium field for 3 years, I think, about 3 years when the first was confirmed to be found. And here's another sort of citizen science type way to get involved in the search for extrasolar planets. And this makes use of something called the Micro Observatory Telescope Network, which is going to be one of the things that I get into in more detail here. But this is kind of fun down here. You can, oh, that 51 Pegasi, yes, 1995. That was my third year in the planetarium field. That was so exciting to find out. And now we're able to get some spectrum data from the planets around some of the stars that we've found planets around, and that's exciting because that can tell us if there's water there. So yay for exoplanets, and I'll definitely include a link to this as well. So what is that Micro Observatory Robotic Telescope Network? got the website right here. There are several different areas that used to be for participating in it. You would need to have a login. This is the one that I'm going to show, the micro observatory for everyone. Let me see. Yeah, I'll just go ahead and click it out of here, show you what you would find. And this is what you would find: observing with NASA. And through this project, you can control telescopes. These are not in real time, but these are telescopes that are set up in different locations that are, people have set them up and joined this network, and it's automated. And so what you do is you submit what it is that you want to observe, and you select a few criteria, and you put in your email address, and then you get an email. It's usually the next day, although I think it can be longer if there's other things going on, and it'll give you the link to your results. Now, your email does not show up in the public list of the results. So it just shows up as, I think, micro observatory guest or MO guest. So you don't have to worry about that. The email is where it lets you know that the observation was done. Now, here's the problem. If it's cloudy, then it's still going to try to take the observation, and you'll just get this image that's like bleh, with nothing there. But you can also see on the table that I'm about to show the weather, the clarity, you know, how clear of clouds it was, will show up on there. All right, I'm going to show this one, the NASA Astrophoto Challenge. So this is one, and they've got a YouTube video that explains it. This is one where they give an object, and for this summer, it's called the Phantom Galaxy. And they invite people to either use an image that was already taken, collect your own through these means, and then use their software then it's web software, so it's not something you have to download and install. Use their web software to process the images to bring out the detail that you like. Now, of course, you can use other software if you want to download the image. And in astronomy, there's a sort of a format called FITS image, but that has all kinds of metadata in it. And there are plugins for Photoshop and GIMP, at least for being able to read those file formats. And there are other types of readers for them as well. But what I'm just going to show you is, here we go. Step one, you get the images, and through the microobservatory, what you do then is you create your image from the data. So I go ahead and no, I'm not going to do the software part yet. Let me show you let's just do the control a telescope part. And whether you're going to do the Astrophoto Challenge object, which the special target is shown here on this page, or you want to see, and here's that object again, Messier 74, that's the Phantom Galaxy. So let's say you want to observe that. Click on Observe, and it tells you some information about it. You get to select a field of view, and they really are pretty good about telling you which field of view, and you only get one choice in this case. The exposure time, now this is how long the camera is open for pulling in light for the exposure. So longer exposure time, you're pulling in more light. And let's say I put 15 seconds on there. It says, uh-oh, your image may be underexposed. Same for the 30-second. Same for the 45-second, because these are galaxy. This is a galaxy, so it's very faint, and so you need the longer exposure time. Now over here, do you want all the light through? Do you want just the red light, just the green light, just the blue light? Do you want multiple filters? So we would go ahead and do multiple filters. Click continue. This is where you put in the email address and your age range. Yeah, I'm in that range. And your gender, your state, which, so we've got, you can do prefer not to say, state. They want to know where it is that you're at. So I'm in Illinois. How often have I used these telescopes? In my case, 6 to 10 times, but if it's your first time today, more than 10 times. And this is just so they can keep track of who's using it. And then you would hit submit. Now, I'm not entering this, but I wanted to show you, let's say you can go to the image directory and it's linked off of this website. And let's sort by object. So that was Phantom Galaxy. Trying to think see if it's on here. I am totally missing it on here. So I'm very embarrassing because I did not. Yeah, it's P for Pandora cluster. That's not the one I'm looking for. Oh, Spiral Galaxy. So it's M74 Spiral Galaxy. And I'm looking at the observations that other people have requested over the past 10 days. And here you see the users are all microobservatory guests, but this shows the site, shows the state that the telescope site was in. And most of these show 100% clear for them. Let's see what this image looked like. I'm going to click on it here. So here's the image file name, and there's a preview. And in this preview, I see very faintly, I see the galaxy there. Very faintly. And let's look at this one. This was a cloudier one, so that was cloudy. And that was also just the red filter for them. Let me see one that has the whole filter. Well, this is another one. There. Okay, another one, different location. So you can go through these. I have done it where I've requested my own, and a lot of times it was cloudy, and so I didn't get an image, but I could look and see the previous couple of days where there were images. So this is a lot of fun, and I hope you'll give it a shot. Now let's say you want to analyze an image. So now I'm on the analyzing image part, and it takes you through how to adjust the scale for the different images and the different controls. So it really is a lot of fun. Sorry, the guided tour is a little annoying when you don't want it to show up on there. So you can play with these tools. You can use one of the archived images that's on there to try. There's a dumbbell nebula. Well, of course, it's one that I'm not seeing. And you would play with all the limits for the brightnesses and such. Okay, so this one was not a good example. It's been a while since I've used it, but it does work out well, and you can give it a shot. It's so much fun. But here's the since I'm running out of time, here we go. Globe at Night is a really cool it's a really cool project, and it's one that you definitely don't have to be signed up to use, but you do need to put a little information, and I think you might have to have a login if you're wanting to contribute. But what it is it measures light pollution in your area. So there are 2 constellations at any time that you would look for, and then you would report on how the conditions were for it. So I'm jumping ahead to, oh, that was really bright. Sorry, I was not set up for that. So let's say you're going to use Hercules. Now, I would advise before setting out that you learn the part of the sky that Hercules is in, and the Stellarium web version is a great way to look at that. So I'm seeing, okay, I know Vega, Deneb, Altair make the summer triangle. Here's Vega. And over here is the bright orange star Arcturus. Wow. Changing the view really flipped things around. And I know that I can confirm it's Arcturus I'm looking at because the Big Dipper's handle, if I follow the handle, it leads me to Arcturus. So we arc to Arcturus. So between Arcturus and Vega, that's where we find constellation Hercules. And I know from previous looking at the sky with binoculars that there's these 4 stars here that kind of make sort of a wastebasket shape on there, and that's the main stars of it. So going back to, can you find Hercules, you would report your observation here, and this is there's the time. You would confirm what time it was that you made the observation. So if you did it the previous night, you would enter in the information from the previous night and your location over here. You can also put in notes if you've got streetlights nearby, shopping centers nearby, all kinds of stuff. And then over here, cloud conditions, what were they like? And any other information about the sky. Was it hazy? Was there high level smoke? Was it super humid? All that. If you have a sky quality meter, I do not have one, you could enter that information. But right here is where you would select. So remember Vega and Arcturus. If I didn't see any of the main stars of Hercules, then it might be down in here. If I didn't see anything, if I'm in the middle of a brightly lit city, I might not see much at all. But, oh, here's a good view where you're seeing those 4 stars that I showed before. Yeah, so that would be magnitude 4. And that's probably close to what I see in my yard if the neighbors don't have a lot of outdoor lights on and if there's no bright moon. Now, the project shows, let's see, I'm going to go back to the project page and let's see, I'm going to go to the campaigns page. And this gives through the steps for what to do to contribute, and it shows a different set of constellations for Northern Hemisphere as for Southern Hemisphere. Obviously, the view's different, although some of those constellations are going to be similar, or the same, I should say, because they would be closer to the celestial equator. You'll note that the date ranges, there isn't one currently. Here's the last set went from June 9th to June 18th, and the next set goes from July 8th to July 17th. And I did see it written in there, but it might show in there. I think it's because those are the dates where you don't have a really bright moon interfering. So that just cuts down on one of the variables. On the resources page, if I scroll down, I can find, if you want to print out a star map and take it with you, you can scroll down, and in different languages, you find the PDF activity guides for each of those constellations. And let me show you right here. Okay, so I'm not going to look at this because it's a little bright, but it takes you through it. And this is the part that would be handy for if you are going to take a printout outside. And if you're going to do that, let me do, I want to show, where's my nearly full camera view? Okay, there we go. So if you're going to do that, then I suggest using a flashlight with a red lens. So this is not, well, you can't see it very well. I have it very faint, not for using in the, the bright lights really doing a number on it. This is the one, it's super dark red. I don't necessarily use this outside for looking at star charts, but I use this in the, actually I'm going to, there, turned off the bright PDF so I can see this a little bit better. Okay, so I use this in the planetarium and it's super, super faint. And that way I can just read notes or write notes while doing things in the planetarium without disturbing the view for anyone that's in there joining me. If I were using this outside, what I would do is I would take the bright flashlight, ooh, super bright, and I would put a couple layers of a red handkerchief over it, and that really cuts down the bright light. So what you would do with, let me put this thing back on, is you would take the sheet out and you would find the constellation Hercules, and then you would find the chart that matches up with what you're able to see in the sky, and you would just circle that one. That would be the one that you then go ahead and submit in your report. So that's a neat thing you can do to participate in Globe at Night. Some of these activities do have, go ahead and do that. Some of these activities do have apps you can download or other things. But hopefully you'll explore some of these and find one that that appeals to you. So that's it for this week. Reminder, there's not going to be a live stream next week, but we will, I will hopefully be back on July 10th to do another of these sessions. So thank you so much for joining.